All right, now we have IELTS listening part 3. In IELTS listening part 3, you are going to get an educational talk. There will be two students discussing their presentation, or sometimes there is a tutor and a student who are discussing a project or a subject or anything. Context is educational. Section 3 and section 4 of IELTS listening, they are academic and educational, right? Now, project on using natural dyes. Natural dyes are natural colors. To color fabrics. Fabric is cloth. So to dye cloth using natural dyes. For example, to use the green leaves of a tree to make any piece of cloth green, or you can use beetroot, to make something red. Right? So like this, there are natural dyes. So the whole talk is about that. Okay. Question number 21. What first inspired Jim? Underline first inspired Jim. There are three options. So what inspired him second? What inspired him last will not be your answer. What inspired him first? That will be your answer to choose this project. Textile displayed in exhibition. So textile displayed exhibition. And you need to read it like notes. Option B, book. Book inspired him. Simple. He read a book and then he decided to do that. And option C, carpets. He saw colorful carpets which were dyed by natural colors. So then he started to do that. So what inspired him first? First thing, for example, you say, well, first of all, I read a book and I became interested. And then I went to an exhibition and there I saw so many colorful carpets. What will be the answer? B, book. What inspired him first? That is important. Now, let's see.
Okay, Jim, you wanted to see me about your textile design project.
That's right. I've been looking at how a range of natural dyes can be used to colour fabrics like cotton and wool.
Why did you choose that topic?
Well, I got a lot of useful ideas from the museum, at that exhibition of textiles. But I've always been interested in anything to do with colour. Years ago, I went to a carpet shop with my parents when we were on holiday in Turkey, and I remember all the amazing colours.
They might not all have been natural dyes.
Maybe not. But for the project, I decided to follow it up. And I found a great book about a botanic garden in California that specialises in plants used for dyes.
Okay.
So, how did it start? And have you noticed they discussed all three options? Correct option is C? Come on. B is the wrong option. C is the right answer. Well done. Very good. Okay. Carpets he saw on holiday. I play it again and I'm going to stop it. I'm going to tell you why C is the right answer.
Okay, Jim, you wanted to see me about your textile design project.
That's right. I've been looking at how a range of natural dyes can be used to colour fabrics like cotton and wool.
Why did you choose that topic?
Well, I got a lot of useful ideas from the museum.
I got quite a useful ideas from the museum.
At that exhibition of textiles.
Okay, about exhibition of textiles. So he went to museum and there he saw. He got ideas, but...
Exhibition of textiles. But I've always been interested in anything to do with colour.
Okay, but I've always been interested to do anything with colour.
Years ago, I went to a carpet shop.
Yeah, now, years ago, before that, because for the previous one he used past perfect, but now he's using past simple. Sorry, he used present perfect. Present perfect means recent past. Now he's using past simple. Years ago.
But I've always been interested in anything to do with colour. Years ago, I went to a carpet shop with my parents when we were on holiday in Turkey, and I remember all the amazing colours.
They might not all have been natural dyes.
Maybe not. But for the project, I decided to follow it.
For the project, I decided to follow it. So I decided to follow it means first inspired Jim. Got it? C is the right answer. Question number 22. Jim eventually decided to do a practical investigation which involved. So Jim decided practical investigation. Now, practical investigation is more like a practical, like you guys may have done practical investigation of a frog. We call it dissection and all that, okay? So practical investigation which involved, what is it that practical investigation involved? Take it as practical. I mean, he did a practical and that practical involved something. Option A, using a range of dyes, underlined range of dyes and different fibers. Now try to understand, range of dyes. One dye is from carrot, one dye is from beet, or one dye is from there, range of dyes, and then different fabrics. Now if he says one dye with different fabrics, it will not be the answer. And if he says that range of dyes with one fabric, it will not be the answer. You know why? Because range of dyes and range of fabric. So this is how they are going to confuse you. This is very confusing multiple choice question, right? Option B, applying different dyes on one type of fabric. Now underline different dyes and one type of fabric. Option A is different dyes, different fabrics. Option B is different dyes, one fabric. And option C, one dye and range of fabrics. See that? How confusing it is? You need to just keep all these things in mind. Now, let's see.
So in your project, you had to include a practical investigation.
Yeah. At first I couldn't decide on my variables. I was going to just look at one type of fibre, for example, like cotton.
And see how different types of dyes affected it?
Yes. Then I decided to include others as well. So I looked at cotton and wool and nylon.
With just one type of dye?
Various types, including some that weren't natural for comparison.
Okay, one type of dyes, he said various. Cotton, nylon, this. And then she said one type of dyes, he said various. So various type of fabrics and various type of dyes. Which option? A is the right option. See, you only find the answer if you understand the question. Otherwise, it's very confusing. By the time the audio plays, you will not find it. They've given 3 confusing options. So correct answer is A. I'm just playing this one.
So in your project, you had to include a practical investigation.
Yeah. At first I couldn't decide on my variables. I was going to just look at one type of fibre, for example, like cotton.
And see how different types of dyes affected it?
Yeah, I was going to. He didn't do that. He said I was going to. One type of this color and all that.
Yes. Then I decided to include others as well.
Then I decided to include others as well. So that is range of dyes.
So I looked at cotton and wool and nylon.
Cotton and nylon and, yeah, one.
And wool and nylon.
With just one type of dye?
Various types.
With just one type of dyes, various types. So it's that. Question number 23. When doing his experiment, Jim was surprised. Now out of 3 options, 2 options will be expected. What you expect is not a surprise. And one option is going to be surprising for him. So let's see which option is that. Option A, how much natural material? So underline much natural material needed. For example, in order to dye a piece of cloth, he needed a lot of natural material. Option B, fact that dyes were widely available on internet. Dyes available on internet. Like this, you need to underline important word. Dyes available on internet. And option C, time. Time means it took long time to dye the cloth and all that. Time that had to leave the fabric in the dye. So what is surprising out of 3 options?
So I did the experiments last week. I used some ready-made natural dyes. I found a website which supplied them. They came in just a few days, but I also made some of my own.
That must have taken quite a bit of time.
Yes. I thought it'd just be a matter of a teaspoon or so of dye, and actually that wasn't the case at all. Like, I was using one vegetable, a beetroot, for a red dye, and I had to chop up a whole pile of it. So it all took longer than I'd expected.
Okay. So, option A. Alright, he said it took longer than I had expected. Option C, time that he had to leave the fabric in the dye, right? But that is not surprising for him. Let's see.
So I did the experiments last week. I used some ready-made natural dyes. I found a website which
I found a website and he's not surprised about it. Normal, I found a website and I just got it from there.
supplied them. They came in just a few days, but I also made some of my own.
That must have taken quite a bit of time.
Yes.
That must have taken, it's not the time that he dipped the fabric in the dye. That must have taken, means making your own dyes. That must have taken quite a lot of time.
Thought it'd just be a matter of a teaspoon or so of dye. And actually that wasn't the case at all. Like, I was using one vegetable, a beetroot, for a red dye, and I had to chop up a whole pile of it.
Okay, beetroot, and I had to chop up a whole pile of it. Okay, and listen on now.
So it all took longer than I'd expected.
It also took longer than I had expected. What took longer? Chopping. Right? He's not talking about option C, testing this time that he had leave the fabric in dye. No, chopping beetroot took longer than he had expected. So correct answer for that is A. Question number 24. What problem did Jim have with using tetrazine as a fabric dye? Now problem. Underline the word problem and underline tetrazine. And fabric dye, we know the whole talk is about fabric dye. Now, tetrazine caused a problem, maybe allergy. Let's see the options. Option A, allergic reaction. Just underline allergic reaction. Option B, not permanent. Not permanent means few washes and the color is gone. Not permanent. For not permanent, they may use the word temporary. Option C, ineffective on nylon. And by the way, when they give you 30 seconds to read the questions, you're going to read very quickly. Only you will underline these words. Okay, and then the audio plays and you can find. Now let's see what was the problem.
One possibility is to use food colourings.
I did use one. That was a yellow dye, an artificial one.
Tetrazine?
Yeah, I used it on cotton first. It came out a great colour. But when I rinsed the material, the colour just washed away. I'd been going to try it out on nylon, but I abandoned that idea.
Were you worried about health issues?
I thought if it's illegal food colouring, it must be safe.
Well, it can occasionally cause allergic reactions, I believe.
So, A, because allergic reaction you heard and allergic reaction is the answer. Question is problem. Now, problem did Jim have? Did it cause allergic reaction to Jim? She said sometimes it causes allergic reaction. It does not mean that it caused allergic reaction to Jim. So if you select the answer on the basis of some words, your answer will be wrong, but you will be double confident that my answer is correct. Okay, let's see. I play this one again.
One possibility is to use food colourings.
I did use one. That was a yellow dye, an artificial one.
Tetrazine?
Yeah, I used it on cotton first. It came out a great colour.
I used it on cotton first. It came out a great color.
But when I rinsed the material, the colour just washed away.
When I rinsed
I've been
the
going to try it out.
material, the color just washed away. Rinsed the material, the color just washed away. That is B, not a permanent dye. When I rinsed the material, the color just got away.
Out on nylon.
Were you worried?
I'd been going to try it out on nylon, but I abandoned that idea.
I was going to try it on nylon, but I abandoned that idea. Abandon means leave. I left that idea.
Were you worried about health issues?
I thought if it's illegal food colouring, it must be safe.
Well, it can occasionally cause allergic reactions, I believe.
It can occasionally cause, but it did not cause allergic reaction to Jim. That's why, no. Now, let's go on. Questions 25 to 30. What problem is identified with each of the following natural dyes? Now, natural dyes and problems. So, will you read questions or problems? Because take a look at the questions. Turmeric, beetroot, Tyrian purple, logwood and all that. And by the way, even if you do not know what the logwood is, what Tyrian purple is, it doesn't matter. Take it as the name of something. Okay, let's see problems. Option A, expensive. anything they use for expensive. For example, if they say, it cost me a fortune, it is very costly. Costly, it cost me a fortune, it means expensive. Option B, color is too strong. For that, they can use the word permanent color. The color is permanent, right? Option C, color is not lasting, long lasting. Not long lasting means it is not a permanent color. Like they said, when I rinsed the material, the color faded or the color got away and all that. Option D, poisonous. For poisonous, they may use anything like dangerous, toxin or anything like that, okay? Let's go on. It can damage the fabric, damage the fabric. For damage the fabric, they may use the word torn the fabric, destroy the fabric, affect the fabric and all that. Option F, color may be unexpected. Now listen, if you are expecting brown color and it turns out to be a red color, right? I was expecting brown, but actually it was red. So color was different than his expectation. Option G, unsuitable for some fabrics. If he says it was not good with cotton, it was not fine for nylon and all that. So not suitable or unsuitable for some fabric. And option H, not generally available. For not generally available, they use the word it's very rare. Something which is not generally available, for that you say it is very rare. Rare means hard to find. Or they may use the word it is hard to find, very difficult to get, very difficult to find, or it is very rare. Now, turmeric. You know turmeric? Yeah, haldi. Okay. So sometimes you go to a wedding and then on your clothes there is that yellow stain, and that yellow stain is mainly because of turmeric. Let's see, what do they say about that?
So what natural dyes did you look at?
Well, one was turmeric. The colour's great. It's a really strong yellow. It's generally used in dishes like curry.
It's meant to be quite good for your health when eaten, but you might find it's not permanent when it's used as a dye. A few washes and it's gone.
Right.
It's not permanent. A few washes and it's gone. And he used the word strong yellow. Now strong yellow is the color. It's not the strength of the color. Okay, it's just like one shade of yellow. We call it strong yellow color, right? So few washes and it's gone. Option. और बाहर की नजर आ रहे हैं बच्चा खिड़की से बाहर देख रहा है, हम बस थोड़ी चला रहे हैं, मैं ड्राइवर थोड़ी हूँ. ओके, अंदर ध्यान दें. अच्छा वो जा रही है उधर, ठीक है, गुड, सही है भाई. इसको पता ही नहीं क्लास में वो क्या रहा है. अच्छा मेरा भी ध्यान भाई जा रहा है. ऑलराइट, ये पर्दे ना बंद करवा दें जब तक ये ओ लेवल्स के एग्जाम्स चल रहे हैं ना, तो तब तक तो बच्चियों ने आना है, तो फिर हमारी क्लास ख़राब होती है यहाँ पे ना. ओके, ऑब्वियसली बाहर की चीज़ें मुझसे तो ज़्यादा अट्रैक्टिव हैं, ठीक है, और IELTS से भी ज़्यादा अट्रैक्टिव हैं, तो फिर मुझे किस, बल्कि कल से ये करते हैं, लड़कियों को इधर बिठाते हैं, लड़कों को इधर बिठाते हैं, इनको कुछ नज़र ही नहीं आएगा. हाँ एग्जैक्टली, अपनी शक्लें नज़र आती हैं, फिर बंदा कहता अच्छा है तो मैं ही हूँ, ठीक है. All right, now 25 answer is B, okay? देख लें, उसको पता ही नहीं है, अभी भी कह रहा है yes sir. हाँ जी. Okay, question number 26. अगर खुद पे कंट्रोल नहीं हो रहा तो पर्दा खोल लो. क्या मैं देख रहा हूँ जो धूप आप सेक रहे हो ना, उसका वाकई सेक आ रहा है. All right, question number 26, beetroot.
I used beetroot as a dye for wool. When I chop up beetroot to eat, I always end up with bright red hands. But the wool ended up just a sort of watery cream shade. Disappointing.
Okay, my hands were red, but on the fabric, watery cream shade. Quite disappointing. Yes, color may be unexpected. For unexpected, he used the word quite disappointing. And what was the color? Watery cream shade. Hands were red, but on cloth it was watery cream shade. So unexpected, that is option F. Okay, question number 27, Tyrian purple.
There's a natural dye called Tyrian purple. Have you heard of that?
Yes. It comes from a shellfish, and it was worn in ancient times, but only by important people, as it was so rare. I didn't use it.
It fell out of use centuries ago, though one researcher managed to get hold of some recently. But that shade of purple can be produced by chemical dyes nowadays.
Okay, it was so rare, only rich people could use it and all that. Option H, not generally available. Okay. Question number 28, logwood.
Did you use any black dyes?
Logwood. That was quite complicated. I had to prepare the fabric so the dye would take.
I hope you were careful to wear gloves.
Yes, I know the danger with that dye.
Good, it can be extremely dangerous if it's ingested.
Okay, it can be extremely dangerous. I wore gloves and all that. Option D. Who said E? Not E, D. Okay, very poisonous, extremely dangerous. Okay, question number 29, cochineal.
Now, presumably you had a look at an insect-based dye, like cochineal, for example.
Yes, I didn't actually make that. I didn't have time to start crushing up insects to get the red colour, and anyway, they're not available here. But I managed to get the dye quite easily from a website, but it cost a fortune. I can see why it's generally just used in cooking and in small quantities.
Yes, it's very effective, but that's precisely why it's not used as a dye.
Okay, cochineal, it cost a fortune. Like for that you have to crush some insects to make this dye. So you said I bought it from the internet, it cost a fortune. Listen to it again.
Now, presumably you had a look at an insect-based dye, like cochineal, for example.
Yes, I didn't actually make that. I didn't have time to start crushing up insects to get the red colour, and anyway, they're not available here. But I managed to get the dye quite easily from a website, but it cost a fortune.
But it cost a fortune. I managed to get the dye from internet, but it cost a fortune. It cost a fortune means it is expensive. Like if you say, this camera cost me a fortune, this mobile phone cost me a fortune, means it is very expensive. Okay, so correct answer is A. Question number 30, metal oxide.
I also read about using metal oxide. Apparently you can allow iron to rust while it's in contact with the fabric, and that colours it.
Yes, that works well for dyeing cotton. But you have to be careful as the metal can actually affect the fabric, and so you can't expect to get a lot of wear out of fabrics treated in this way.
Okay, metal can affect the fabric. Option E. Metal can affect the fabric means it can damage the fabric. Okay? Alright, so part 3 is over, and now we've got